I hereby reconvene the November 12, 2013 meeting of the Marion County School Board at 6 p.m. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience, please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate. Board, I'd like to now bring up Ms. Marion Needham, and she's going to handle our inspiration and pledge for this evening. Ms. Needham.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce Miss Melissa Bomback from Howard Middle School. She's the choral teacher there. She will do our inspiration and lead us in the Pledge to Allegiance.
Good evening. I feel inspired when I have a clear sense of purpose. For all of us here, that purpose is to educate the children of Marion County. It is a challenging job, but it is an essential one. It feels thankless at times, but in education, we know our results are seen in the long term. We may never see the harvest of the seeds we plant today. I've had students that I had for one semester, and I never see them again, and I just have to hope that those little seeds grow. It is our job simply to help the tender little plants to start. As the weather starts to cool, it is easy to forget that beneath the earth, there is important work being done that may not reveal itself for months to come. I had a young lady this year that did her best to defy me from the moment she entered the room. She put up an impenetrable wall. After 7 weeks of staunch opposition that was met only with patience and love, I got this email after she did something that really disappointed me. I'm sorry I let you down. You have taught me a lot. I may not show it, and she still doesn't quite show it, but that's okay. When I get home, your class is one of the few classes I talk about. To me, that is gold. That is an example of a difficulty a teacher faces. But it is no secret that we are in a difficult time in education now. As Charles Dickens said in A Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. Even in such times, a true professional gives just a little bit more than anyone can be expected to give. A true professional in education advocates for children. This can describe a teacher, but it can also describe a school board member. The day-to-day tasks may be different, but the work is the same. With lots of mandates and chatter about accountability, along with reduced funding, our purpose is what unites us and what drives us. Thank you. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight I'm honored to recognize Sandra Collins for being selected as the Yale Distinguished Educator for 2013. Sandra is the music teacher at Reddick Collier Elementary and Thesden Elementary, and she was selected to attend the 2013 Symposium on Music in Schools and awarded at the symposium the coveted honor of being named a Yale Distinguished Music Educator. The 4th Symposium on Music in Schools took place at the Yale School of Music in New Haven, Connecticut on June 6th through the 9th. And Sonia made that trip, all expenses paid by the Yale School of Music, and represented Marion County and the state of Florida at this symposium. This award is presented biennial by the Yale School of Music, and it honors only 50 music educators from across the United States. They're selected for their outstanding accomplishments teaching music in public schools. From a pool of 300 applicants or nominees representing 45 states, a panel of music professionals from Yale School of Music selected the 50 distinguished music educators. These selected educators hail from 32 different states, from California to New York to Ocala, Florida. Mrs. Collins is an outstanding music educator and accomplished musician. She brings passion, creativity, leadership, and knowledge to her classroom and her students. Our students are fortunate to have such an outstanding music educator, and I'd like for you to join me in honoring her for her selection on this award. Sandra. Sandra is bringing with her her principal from this year, as well as her principal from last year, Miss Jane Ashman and Miss Janine Mills. And Jane was one of the was responsible for her nomination, so we're really proud of Sonia and pleased to present her to you tonight.
Thank you very much. And I have to take this moment to say that these two administrators, as well as Miriam Needham, the three of them, are the reason why I am a successful educator. These three administrators behind me not only support me fully in my endeavors, but go above and beyond to make sure that I can be the best teacher I can be. So really, I said to Miriam that I have to have her, as well as Miss Ashman, as well as Miss Mills with me here tonight, because they are the reason why I was able to do this. So please join me in a round of applause for these three women. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ms. Collins, I have to remind you of what you said to me. And you said, Mr. James, I'm moving out of your district to another person's district. And I just want to remind you that I still love you.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Thank you very much. And I always love to have you at our concerts too, regardless of what section of the district you're you're representing.
Ms. Collins, I just want to congratulate you. I remember the first time I met with you and your passion and going to the concerts and seeing just how brilliant you are with the students. I just want to commend you and thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, with the exception of item SD 34 and JD 14-10 and JD 14-13 under item SD 35, which have been withdrawn entirely from the agenda, I recommend approval of the agenda for the November 12th, 2013 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, the audio recording, and DVD included as part of the official record of the meeting.
Okay, may I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Ms. Ely. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. There we go. All right. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the October 3rd, 2013 administrative briefing and work session, the October 8th, 2013 school board meeting, the October 17th, 2013 administrative briefing and work session. Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Ms. Ely. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
All opposed? And the motion should pass 5-0. Okay, it does. Board, I'd like to bring up Dr. Anna DeWeese, and she's, our Director of Federal Programs, and she's going to make some presentations this evening. Dr. DeWeese,
It will be okay with you. I'll sit from here in the new room equipment.
whatever you choose, ma'am.
Just want to say that I have an honor to direct and work with several good people at the Grant Federal Programs and Howard Academy offices. And so the presentation will begin as such. So let's go next. To begin, one of the biggest things that happens at federal programs is the allocation of Title I funds. And so I want to talk to you and give you a little overview as to all of the different components that I will discuss in the PowerPoint presentation. So we have to have some information that goes out with parents, and so we have a very active parent involvement component. We, of course, by your vote, thankfully, had that opportunity to purchase Ticket to Read and VMath for all of our students. We have the HIPPY program. HIPPY stands for Home Instruction for Parents of Preschool Youngsters. So in fact, we do go into homes to work with parents of 3, 4, and 5-year-old students. The caveat is because our money doesn't allow us to work with those students individually, we work with the parents, train the parents so they are able to teach their children early learning literacy. We also have an agreement with private schools. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Title I Part C is a little bit different than most of the other categories you see up here because Title I Part C includes our migrant department. We also have 45 academy classrooms spread out through 15 schools in our district, and these schools serve K through 2 with Action 100, and we'll talk about that in a bit. We also are the Department of Early Learning, and you'll see the state's logo there because they just changed that logo. We actually have 21 pre-K classrooms that we currently fund with a combination of VPK and federal Title I funds. And then we cannot forget our neglected and delinquent students, and they're at several different schools spread out across Marion County, and these are for students who are actually incarcerated or they attend SERMI or pay schools for girls, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So we'll start with the low and young students. So as I said before, HIPPY means home instruction for parents of preschool youngsters. And with this program, we have an instructional support personnel person, Kim Gibbous, who's in charge of 7 homeschool liaisons. And these liaisons actually go into our parents' homes and work with those parents. They work with Kim every Friday where they have an opportunity to role play and practice what they're going to do with all of the studies and that instruction before they go into the homes with the families. And then the families actually come in once a month to work in collaboration with all of the homeschool liaisons and Ms. Gibbous. We are in partnership, and that's not up there, with the University of South Florida, so they actually help fund this program with Title I Part A funds. In the Office of Early Learning, we have our voluntary pre-kindergarten classrooms. During the school year, we're able to serve the 21 classrooms. However, by state statute, we are also required to offer summer VPK. In the summer, the students are to receive 300 hours for VPK. During the school year, it's about 540 hours. Michelle Kernan is the coordinator of that program, and we currently have 3 early learning coaches who are listed there. An interesting thing about our VPK program, a couple of years ago, we actually did our own research to follow our own students, and 92% of these students who attended our full year VPK and our summer programs did not get retained in 3rd grade. And so you'll see that Michelle Kernan is the coordinator there. We do have our coaches, who we call instruction support personnel, but to teachers, they're coaches. They go in and they coach the teachers in the classrooms. They model for them. In essence, they are a coach. Basically, we are able to work with their curriculum, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen, we have 3 different types of curriculum. We work with the AM Plus model, and that's Early Literacy Learning Model. The plus means that includes math, science, social studies, and art. So on any given day you are in a classroom for pre-K, you should see lots of interactions, lots of singing, lots of dancing, lots of centers. It should not be bland because we pride ourselves in having those kids role play, and they actually learn through play. But at this point, I think we have about 4 or 5 kids who are actually reading at the kindergarten level. At the end of the year, we are expecting that number to grow exponentially. In the program for VPK, we also have a computerized program called Waterford, and that program runs with those students from pre-K through second grade. And so we just wanted to make sure we talked about that. What I also need to mention on this slide, and it's really something that we do in partnership with Student Services with the ESE Department, Exceptional Student Education. They have 33 classrooms, and so our county actually has an early learning committee that consists of people from Student Services, principals, our early learning coaches, myself, representatives from K-12 academics, and teachers. And so what we've decided is to have one unit, early learning. And so our early learning coaches actually go into those ESE pre-K classrooms too to help them with their curriculum. Now, we cannot do anything with IEPs because that would, be out of our jurisdiction, but we work in partnership with Barb Dobbins at the ESE department to make sure those 31 classrooms are also supported with that curriculum. In regards to the academy program, as I said, we have 15 schools and 45 classrooms. These schools are listed below, and you can take a moment to look at those. With the academy classrooms, we have a special partnership with the kindergarten classrooms with the United Way. I'm pretty sure many of you read that article in the paper about the Reading Pals. We work in our office collaboratively with the United Way to provide books, and those volunteers that they provide for us come into our classrooms. Our goal is to have each student in kindergarten receive an Academy Reading Pal. I believe Ms. Ely has decided to help with that too, and that's also a great thing. The Academy classrooms, well, the Reading Pals in the Academy classrooms, they serve as mentors to our students. Basically, they get 25 hours of reading. They go in there and it's very targeted instruction with a book with set curriculum. And once the child has finished reading that book with the Reading Pal, they are able to take that book home. So at the end of the year, we will actually build a library for them in their homes, which is good. This is a little data from last year in regards to our academy, and this data comes from the FAIR analysis, which is Florida Assessments for Instruction and Reading. As you can see, when you compare the kindergarten, first and second grade classrooms to the district, that you see growth there. If you look at that first block where it says kindergarten, it says on average kindergarten classrooms doubled the gains made by other kindergarten classes. So what this says is the Action 100 piece, the protocols for getting in and charting students and conferencing with that ERLA, as well as Saxon Phonics and all of the other programs, has empowered these students to make gains. With the academy classrooms, it doesn't matter if you're kinder, first, or second grade. We try not to get the students who are at the very bottom. What we try to do is get those students who are in the middle, who needed a little bit more help to help them get on grade level. As you can see, we still have a challenge. Last year was the first year we implemented the academy. This is our second year. By nature of the beast, our data shows in second grade, those kids aren't as strong as we would like for them to be countywide. So our hope is after we've implemented this academy for 3 years, we will be able to see a trend line that's moving up and not moving down. Let's talk about private schools. We've had conversations with 2 board members already about why is it necessary for us to serve the private schools. Just so you know, those schools there are the only private schools who have an agreement with our federal programs department. Each year, we send out a letter asking those principals, for lack of a better word, principals, to let us know whether or not they would like to be a part of federal programs and receive funding for their school. With the private schools, we target only the students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. So they do not have a school-wide program like our elementary and middle schools. What they do have is a targeted assistance program. And so with these schools, you would see tutoring, or you'll see a para going into those classrooms and pushing in or pulling out, working with those students who actually qualify. We do have students that we serve who don't necessarily live in Marion County, so we are working on agreements with those counties to make sure those kids are served properly. We did have a retirement, so the name there that you see who's in charge of private schools is Jane Davis. Dr. Gamble recently retired, so we're making changes in the office with that. Any questions so far? Okay, we'll keep moving. In regards to the Title I parent involvement, we do have a center located at Howard Academy where parents can come in to the center and work with those students, work with the people there to collect materials on a 2-week basis. They can check out all of those materials as they see fit. We have games, we have books, we have file folder games, we have anything you can think of, we're ordering. One thing that I need to talk about, though, is middle school. Since our middle schools recently came on board with Title I, we know that we need to implement more middle school curriculum or games or assistance in the center, and that's what we're working on now. If you can see at the very bottom, we do have a Title I van that goes on a rotation to our schools. So some of that material that you see on the wall is placed on the van. And there are also other materials on the van. So when the van goes to each school on different days of the week, but every day the van is out at a school, parents can actually come to the van and check out materials that would have been at the center. Yes, sir.
The middle schools, which ones are Title I? I know that
Dunellen, Lake Weir, Hamo, Horizon Academy, and North Marion Middle.
Okay.
And so what the criticism I received this year when I got there is we need more stuff for the middle school kids on the van, and so that's what we've been working on.
Okay.
As you can see, we do have hours of operation there Monday through Friday, and so come on out and you can check it out. We're changing it around to make it a little bit more parent-friendly, but if you come, we'll invite you in. Okay, now with the parent involvement piece, our district is also required to have a district parent involvement plan, which was you'll talk about later in the meeting. But along with that, we are required to host different parent events. And so you'll see the most recent parent event that is going to occur next Monday for parents to actually come out twice, either at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon to the growth management system, where we will actually work with them to let them know how they can be used in their schools, help their students, and then give them opportunities to know what we do at Title I. So that's one of our required things that we have to do for parents. As far as a migrant grant is concerned, that's Title I Part C. Christy Davidson is in charge of this. She's a program specialist there. We are actually able to serve students from ages 3 to 21. One of the things that I've noticed since I've been here is that we don't serve a lot of students between ages 18 and 21, and so we've been working with the state to try to figure out how we can find those kids and help them either obtain their GED or get back into school to obtain a high school diploma. That's one of the things that is very necessary here. With these services in the past and currently, we have 2 homeschool liaisons who actually go out into the schools. They go out into children's homes, and they actually work with these parents. I think one of the issues that we have is because they're migrant and they can be there for up to 3 years, we have to make sure they have a qualifying move. And so if they're migrant, they can be in Marion County, but they would have to actually move to go to another location to work with the seasonal work and then come back. And we're still able to serve them that way. We know that there are different challenges, and so what we've done is we've had this group work with the Title III ESOL group, and that those 2 groups have been working with the immigrant groups, because some of these kids actually fall into all 3 categories, and we're just trying to make sure we serve all of the students that we can serve to help them in their classrooms and also help their parents, because that's what this migrant piece is all about. It's about helping their parents too. And we also have a committee, a migrant committee, a council, and we meet quarterly. That group actually has components from those 3 different groups that I just talked to you about. Also, we have a lawyer there, a former migrant student who now owns a business out near Romeo Elementary at Little Mexico. And so what we've been trying to do is get all of us groups to come together so we can provide all types of services, which include health services to these families, because some of them, they need those services. In regards to Title I-D, that's neglected and delinquent, we partner with Student Services. Shamika Murphy is this contact over there. The schools here, we have a certain type of money that we help educate these kids to. We use the funding more with supplemental materials. We do have a person that is paid for out of this grant, Title I Part D, and she travels through all of these schools. What we've been doing here is making sure these kids are able to obtain their GED or pass their different certifications for high school or obtain a high school diploma. I mean, we still have a obligation to serve all of our students, and it doesn't matter what their background or their circumstance is. We had a second retirement. It feels like everybody's retired since I've gotten there, but we've had a second retirement, and Dr. Rene will take on these schools. He's actually already met with these folks and also met with Ms. Murphy to get this working. In the grants department is a little bit different. The grants department is actually funded with our school board funds. It's not funded out of title or any entitlements. And so Rene Zysek is our program manager there. This department is responsible for over $70 million that comes into our county. And so we do have a grant applications process that is very strict. We work with K-12 academics. We work with the business side of the house to make sure our grants are used the way that they're supposed to be used and that those funds are allocated in the way that they're supposed to be allocated. And so you see some of the responsibilities at the very bottom. We have to have documentation. No matter what happens, we have to be responsible for the money that we receive. And so we can either have program or fiscal amendments, and sometimes you see those come your way, and that could either be internal, state, or federal. Because sometimes when you get into your program, you decide, well, maybe we should do something else with this money, or maybe somebody quit and you have to hire somebody else and you just have to make your amendments. However, we still have to report either quarterly, annually, or at the final component of the grants. However, the main thing is we need to maintain our documentation so we know exactly what we're spending our money on. Again, I said there is a process that we have to go through, and these are a list of all of our entitlement and discretionary grants for which this department is responsible. They either help write these grants or we are having them oversee these grants. And so that's a lot. It's quite a bit. And then there's just some responsibilities at the bottom. As I said, we do pay for them out of our district budget. We have a quarterly grant newsletter. There are different research opportunities for grants. We monitor donations, so on and so forth. And I would like to put in a commercial because Rene Zysek is actually the lead grant person at the state level, and she's the president of all of that association. So anything she hears, she brings to us, and we're able to work with Ms. Boston Ellis's office to make sure we are in compliance. And I'm pretty sure you saw an article most recently about Howard Academy in the paper. That was last week. And so what I want to talk about here is we have the JADE HAGANS tutorial program. Ms. HAGANS was a very valuable member of our community, our educational community, and so that program is actually named after her. This is Well, one of the things that we do here is offer after-school tutoring, and we do that in collaboration with Kids Central. Again, that's with district funds. We serve grades 1 through 12, and the tutoring actually began September 30th, and it will run through the end of May. So it's a full-year program, and the kids come every day except early release days and Fridays, and they're there from 4 to 6. We actually have 4 certified teachers and 1 para helping with this grant. As you see, our program manager is Mr. Reginald Landers, and he's been helpful there. We do have community partnerships with Childhood Development Services, where we offer CDS Head Start classrooms. I think there are about 5 classrooms over there for 3-year-old students. They contract with us. We also have community outreach, and the Black History Museum is also in that building. And finally, we have our Title III ESOL. As I stated earlier, we do work with that Title III immigrant grant as well, but Matt Lane he's in charge of that grant. But we do work together as partners here. So we have 3 staffing specialists who are paid partially out of Title III and partially out of district. Those are Janine Grover, Nancy Moran, and Bonnie Payton. And so what they do is they make sure we are in compliance for our ESOL students, English for speakers of other languages, and basically our ELL learners fit this criteria. They were not born in the United States, or they were born in the United States, but their native languages are not English. So there is a survey that parents fill out when students come in to register, and if there is a flag where it says you do not speak English as your native language, then you are able to take a series of assessments to determine whether or not you qualify for this program. And these students will receive intensive English and core subject instruction, and that looks a little bit differently at the elementary level than it does at the middle and the high school level. At the high school level, we basically have a sheltered ESOL class where all of our kids are in that class and they're immersed in the language until they're able to learn that language, and then they are able to come out and do the rest of their classes. At the middle and elementary levels, it's more inclusive. The students have to have, if they're targeted for this program, they have to have an IEP, individual education plan. Our parents must be involved in this process so they can receive the appropriate accommodations and modifications. All of our teachers who teach ESOL, they must be highly qualified, and if they are not highly qualified, they must obtain their certification or endorsement. They sign an out-of-field agreement once they are hired if they don't have this certification, and they actually take classes. So one of the things that my department does is track to make sure teachers are actually taking those classes. If you're an administrator, you need 60 hours, and if you're superintendent, you need 18 hours. So we are all responsible for teaching these babies. We currently employ 108 ELL paras, and they serve our ELL students. And we currently have about 2,200 students in Marion County. 510 of those students have exited the program, but we still have a responsibility to track and monitor their progress. If their progress is not on par, then they have to go back into the program, and we serve them until their language is acquired. They're permitted to be in the program for 2 years, and we track them that way. Some of them are in there more, they're longer. We do have a program called Rosetta Stone. I was talking to Mr. Tomlin about this. We have a program called Rosetta Stone that we've purchased this year. It's a web-based program that can be used at home or in the school levels for our high school and middle school students. Unfortunately, we only have about 139 licenses. So what we try to do is work with Matt Lane's group with Immigrant Grant and our group with the ESOL grant to ensure that the students that are picked to get on the Rosetta Stone, they can, their families can benefit from it, and they can benefit from it, so they can actually learn that English language very quickly. We felt like if we put that program in the high school level and at the middle school level, because if they're brand new and they don't know the language, it'll be easier for them to become acclimated. So if more funding is provided to us, then we will trickle that down to the elementary level. But because we immerse our elementary students in the language, the English language, we felt like we should do something a little bit differently for our secondary students. Oh, that's the end of my show. I guess I have lots of stuff to talk about. Do you have any questions?
Go ahead. Just, I was over at South Ocala, and I noticed that they were getting ready to move all, well, they were having a SAC meeting, or they were meeting with their parents at Howard Academy. Share with us now, how often do South Ocala come over and use it?
That's a very important question to ask. South Ocala actually runs an after-school program at Howard Academy. And anytime they have a parent night at South Ocala, they also have one at Howard Academy. So the parents across the street, they pull from Parkside, they can come there and get the same information. So when we talk about the Howard Academy tutoring, many of our students actually go to that South Ocala tutoring, on our site from 3 until 4, And then from 4 to 6, they're in our program. So I think that's a win-win. But every time there is a parent event at South Ocala, they have one at our school, at our location.
So it's fair to say that that building is in constant use over there? After school and?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Except on Fridays.
okay.
Except on Fridays. Any other questions?
I had a question about the, you had put up the grants.
Mm-hmm.
The title, Title II, Teacher and Principal Recruiting, what do you do with that?
I don't,
You don't
Mr.
know?
Tomlin didn't give me Title II, so that's the only thing I do not have.
That was just listed, yeah.
That's one of the grants that our department helps to write, and they write that in conjunction with Tara Hart at K-12 Academics. So I don't necessarily have to monitor that grant, we just help them write that grant and organize it. And that definitely helps with training, and then teacher training as well, administrator training, that type of thing.
There's a lot of great programs provided.
I
for our
didn't
kids
realize
through
I did
Title-
so much until I actually put it all in a PowerPoint.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot,
I
yeah.
didn't, I was like, oh my, I do a whole
And
lot.
I'd like to say, I've spoken with you on different situations, and she is so excited about her job. She is enthusiastic, and and if you don't, and there's more information. If you haven't asked me this question yet, you're gonna be, she almost is like telling me she's answering things that I don't know how to ask the question, but she knows I need to know, and she fills me in, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm, and I felt it's a blast to talk to you because
Thank you.
the information you know what I want to ask, and you help me when I can't get exactly to you what I want to ask, and you know it for me, and you've really done great to have been there for such a short amount of time, actually.
Thank you.
You really, you know your stuff. Thanks.
I read a lot at night.
I think you must, because you read minds also. You've read mine, so
thank
thank
you.
you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Luis. Board, may I have a motion to adopt the proclamation recognizing the third Wednesday of November as Education Support Professionals Day? A motion and a second, please.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Ms. Ely. All those in favor, is there any discussion on it? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes 5-0. All right, Board, I'd like to bring up, excuse me, Ms. Lisa Saka. She's the Executive Director of our Human Resources Department, and she has a guest with her, Ms. Marie McCormick, the President of Marion Essential Support Personnel.
Good evening, Mr. Crawford and board members. It's my pleasure tonight to be here along with Marie McCormick, who is the president, and she has brought a visitor with her, and she will be introducing Anne Marie Marlowe to you here in a moment. But I am pleased this evening to present the following proclamation. Whereas the third Wednesday in November will mark the annual observance of Education Support Professionals Day, and whereas our education support professionals work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism, and whereas the success of Marion County students relies upon the support staff to be positive role models, and whereas support staff have a major role in assisting our educators who shape the minds which will create the future, and whereas all support staff in Marion County have an important role to play in ensuring that all of today's students are prepared to meet the challenges established by high educational standards. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the School Board of Marion County, Florida recognizes the third Wednesday of November to be Education Support Professionals Day, November 20th, 2013. Dated this 12th day of November 2013, signed by our superintendent, board chair, and board members.
Thank you, that's really nice, thank you. It's a lot, like I wrote. Mr. Superintendent, members of the board, and guests, ESP Day focuses on the importance of the school employees who take care of students every day, ensuring that our students have the tools they need to succeed. ESP Day was first celebrated in 1987 after the National Education Association's Representative Assembly called for the creation of a way to honor the contributions of school support staff. At the 2003 NEA Representative Assembly, the ESP formal name was changed from Education Support Personnel to Education Support Professionals. The change reflects a growing pride in the valuable role ESPs play throughout America's public schools and acknowledges the major contribution ESPs make to children and to public education. ESPs provide invaluable services to enable students to learn in a positive, supportive environment and are equal and essential partners in the education process. Today, ESPs make up more than 40% of the total K-12 education workforce and are directly involved in the delivery of educational services that positively affect student learning. ESPs are a critically important part of the Marion County school community, impacting the lives of the Marion County school children and employees every day. I am a very, very proud ESP. With me tonight is MESP Vice President Anne Marie Marlowe. Anne Marie is a highly qualified paraprofessional at Horizon Academy. Together, we have 45 years of service to Marion County Public Schools. Anne Marie and I accept this proclamation on behalf of the nearly 1,200 members of the Non-Instructional Bargaining Unit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, may I have a motion to adopt the 2013-2014 Student Progression Plan? Motion and second, please.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Mr. James. Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, the plan reflects changes in legislation for compliance with Florida Statute 1008.25 and to clarify language concerning student progression in Marion County.
Declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board on the student progression plan? Seeing none, I bring it back to the board. Board members?
Call the question.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion should pass 5-0. And it does. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Ms. Ely. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Motion does pass. May I have a motion to approve the extending the real estate option to purchase agreement to January 15, 2014, and scheduling a January 14, 2014 public hearing on the purchase of the future high school site in the Marion Oaks area. I need a motion and a second, please.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Mr. James. Board discussion. Is there any?
Call the question.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes 5-0.
Stacy, your vote's not showing up.
All right, there we go. May I motion to remove from the table the motion to approve the agreement with Incorporated Ed Options Academy? I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Mr. James. All those in favor of removing this item from the table and placing it on the floor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Excuse me, the motion passes 5-0.
Mr. James, your vote's not showing up.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Board, the motion that is now on the floor is to approve the agreement. A revised agreement has been provided in response to concerns for wording expressed in the October 22nd, 2013 school board meeting. If concur with the wording in the revised agreement, may I have a motion to amend by inserting the word revised so that the motion will read, approve the revised agreement with Edmond Incorporated Ed Options Academy. I need a motion for that. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who gave me the, Ms. Stacy? Okay. All right. Yes, well, okay, did show up, okay. Discussion on this issue? Ms. Stacy, you originally had pulled this. Did this satisfy your?
Satisfied me wonderfully.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, then we're on to the vote. All those in,
I just
ma'am?
wanted to say,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
appreciate how quick and efficient this information came back to us.
I agree with you. All right, any other discussion on this? All right, then we will be voting on the motion as amended. All those in? Motion to amend. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Yep, it's, okay. All right. We have now, did you want to add something, Ms. Falk? Okay. All right, well, just jump in. Okay, we'll now be voting on the main motion as amended. Is there any discussion on this issue? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes. 5-0. Oh, really? I know. Okay. All right. Board, may I have a motion to approve the following donations? $4,177.84 to Bellevue High School from the ROTC Boosters, $5,000 to Bellevue High School from the Bellevue Middle School, from the Bellevue Middle School PTO, $4,500 to Community Technical and Adult Education from Star and Shield Services, LLC, $1,500 to Community Technical and Adult Education from Fire Protection Publications, Oklahoma State University, $6,400 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary from the Charles and Marianne Collins, $1,000 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary School from Lockheed Martin, $1,000 to Dunellen High School from the Public Education Foundation of Marion County, $1,500 to Lake Ware High School from Bright House Networks, LLC, $5,271.24 to Maplewood Elementary School from Maplewood Elementary PTO, 20 $50 gift cards valued at $1,000 to Saddlewood Elementary School from Walmart, $1,000 to South Ocala Elementary School from South Ocala PTO, $1,000 to Vanguard High School from the Centers for Sleep and Lung Disorders Incorporated, and $1,000 to Vanguard High School from Walmart. Need a motion, a second, please.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Mr. James. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that should pass 5-0. And it does. And, you know, Ms. Stacy, I haven't called in a while. Would you like to thank the community for us?
I certainly would. It is so amazing to me that the parents and the teachers and everyone work so hard, and we have wonderful people in our community that believe in what we're doing here. They've probably got children of their own that have passed through the system, and they've done such a great job, and their children are successful, and they give back to us. And I would like to thank each and every one of them for the support they give us, and we will continue to work hard not to ever let them down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members, a few meeting reminders. The organizational meeting in the Marion County School Board will be held on Tuesday, November 19th, 2013, at 11 a.m. Purpose of the board meeting is to determine meeting dates, time, and places, as well as elect a chair and vice chair. The annual Leasing Corporation meeting will immediately follow the school board organizational meeting. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Tuesday, November 21st, 2013. Thursday, excuse me. Well, we can move the calendar, you know. Thursday, November 21st, 2013, at 9 a.m. Purpose of the work session is to receive an update on construction projects, review the proposed contract for a new charter middle school, and discuss millage/sales tax 2014 ballot committee and language. And board members, at this time, and I'm trying to think the legal way that we can do this. So I'm going to make a request of the superintendent. Would you please bring? We've received a communique. You all received a copy of it from the city of Ocala. Would you please bring this as an emergency item so that we can deal with it this evening?
Yes, sir, I can. I'm not exactly sure what the terminology is, but we will declare that this is an emergency item, and I would like Chairman Crawford to discuss this letter that he has received.
We declare this as an emergency item. Board members, we've had a request from the city. They would like to name a portion of Fort King Street in honor of one of our true heroes in this country, a young man who has served in the military, and I'm trying to, his name is Marky Sims. Sergeant Sims received the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Good Conduct Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, the Overseas Service Ribbon, the NATO Medal, and the Combat Action Badge. And he unfortunately fell in the service to our country, and he is survived by his wife and his son and his parents and 4 brothers and 1 sister. And they've asked if they could name a portion of the road on Fort King after him, and I'm asking this evening that we send our approval to the city on this. Any discussion?
That's
I think
always,
that's a great way to recognize him and remember him.
I agree.
and to honor our fallen soldiers is a really awesome thing to do. So
All right, we will, let me get a vote on this. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Have you got that on the,
Do we need to have a motion in a second?
yeah, let me get a motion in a second just to make it legal. Can I get a motion on this item?
so moved.
Second.
Second, motion by Ms. Boynton, second by Mr. James. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, and that does proudly pass 5-0. Ms. Walker, did you put something?
I have to do it. I don't have
Okay.
to put a form in. There's no
We
way
will-
for me to
we'll-
do it.
we'll-
I'm just
okay.
taking verbal vote for
All
it.
right.
And I will have to
and
add
wa-
it in.
Okay, it was a unanimous vote, and I will communicate to the city that we proudly endorse their request.
Do we have to sign anything or do anything?
We'll just. All right, and now time for comments from board members, and we'll start with Ms. Ely this evening.
I just wanted to thank everybody who was responsible for putting on the incredible Veterans Day program yesterday. In spite of the heat, it was beautiful. The flyover was great, and we've been honoring Veterans Day since 1919. We're at the end of World War I, and I think it's very important. Mr. Tomlin spoke about how the veterans wanted our kids to be in school on Veterans Day so that they could learn what Veterans Day is all about. I think that's just real important that we do this every year. My father is 96 years old, and he is a World War II veteran, and I wanted to recognize him too. He's still hanging in there, and he had his own Veterans Day awards ceremonies in Melbourne, so I couldn't even get him here. But thank you all for attending. I think we had over 2,000 students who came. It was beautiful.
Ms. Stacy.
This has been a good week. I'm working with some people in the community out in Marion Oaks, meeting with some ministers in both the Hispanic and the Black churches, to put together a program to help mentor parents and teach them how to be their child's education advocate. And so we will be working and focused on the Marion Oaks area in the beginning as we put our Sister Girls organization on the road. And I've been speaking at churches, and it's about to pick up and get real busy for me. And I'm glad the budget time's over so that I can move on and do what I want to do for parents and children at risk.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. James.
I'm past that.
Ms. Boyd.
I have two things that I want to talk about. First, I want to echo Ms. Ely on the Veterans Day event. It was truly a wonderful event. I want to thank Suzanne McGuire and also Mr. Kevin Christian, for a wonderful event, and for all the students that participated in the schools. It just a joy to see you out there, very active on Veterans Day. So thank you. The second thing is I just want to remind each board member that at our December conference, I'm not sure if you kept up with the fact that we are required to have an ethics training. So we all have to be there, and it's going to be on the 3rd of December, and I want us to make sure that we really go to this meeting because it's incumbent that it's the law, you know. But it will help us as we deal with people and make sure that we all, you know, that we respect each other, and you know, you're nowhere to draw the line at. And I think it's a wonderful thing. So I just want to remind us all about that training.
Madam Attorney, anything now? I'm coming back to you. Madam Secretary? Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Mr. Crawford, I have a few announcements to make and just some good news. I shared with you at our work session that I was going to try to bring you educational news. I want to tell you a little bit about what our CTAE program offers in the way of GED programs. And the GED program has made the news lately because the requirements for passing a GED are changing effective in January of 2014. They're going to be a little more stringent, a little more difficult. We're ramped up for it, I think, but I'll just give you a little bit of brief history on this. For school year 2012-2013, we had 318 individuals complete a high school diploma through the GED program. And thus far this year, as of November the 6th of this year, we've had 313 adults complete that program. Again, as I mentioned, the GED exam will be much more difficult beginning in 2014, and we'll move completely to a computer administration through Pearson VUE testing labs. We're seeing that a lot. We have to do a lot more use of technology. CTAE, our own CTAE, is the sole provider of GED testing in Marion County, and we have a certified Pearson VUE testing center. The new test will measure career and college readiness, as well as the core knowledge in 4 content areas of literacy, math, science, and social studies. In addition to the CTA main campus where GED courses are offered, we have off-site locations at the Marion County Jail, the Phoenix House, Bellevue High School, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Silver Springs, Dunellen Middle School, Blessed Trinity Catholic Church, and we're trying to develop other additional programs at Howard Academy, Keaton Corrections Incorporated, and in the Marion Oaks community. We also have a School to You bus that travels around the county serving the Ocala Police Department area, Marion County Library, and the Ocala National Forest area. So the GED program is alive and well in Marion County, and we're very proud of those graduates and very proud of our employees that work on that. Again, enough has been said about Veterans Day, but we will certainly continue to be supportive of that program as a school system. Announce to you, if you'd put it on your calendars, that we have planned, and you will be receiving specific information about this, a dedication ceremony for our newest elementary school, Legacy Elementary. We'll be holding that on Wednesday, December 11th at 9 o'clock in the morning. You will receive an official notification from us on that. The school will be ready to go, and the kids are pretty excited about that dedication program. If you did not get an opportunity to participate, I'll just report briefly on Ocala Country Days. That was at our Silver River State Park, which we partner with, of course. Almost 4,000 Marion County Public School students attended the program Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of last week. Saturday, we had almost 2,500 public attendees there, and on Sunday, almost 2,000 different people from our community paid to go out there, and those proceeds raised over $18,000 for the Silver River Museum. And then the final thing I'd like to say is that we would like to recognize our outgoing chair this evening. Mr. Crawford has served us as our board chair this year. A little bit of history for those who don't know this about him. He was elected to his first term in 1998 and served as chair 2 different years from 2001 school year and also 2001-2002 school year, back-to-back years, sir. Elected to your second term in 2002 and served as vice chair in the 2004-05 school year. Elected to his third term in 2006, served as chair in 2006 and 7, and now in his fourth term, which he was elected in 2010, served as vice chair in 2010-11, vice chair in 11-12, and then now as chair for 2012-13. We'd like to thank you for your service in leading us through a pretty tough year. And we'll all recognize that, but I think it has been rewarding for many of us. And, of course, I have to present something to you, and yes, you must open it in front of everyone. I did not wrap that. I cannot take credit or blame for that.
Can I eat it?
No, you can't. If you eat that, you're more than I can imagine. Oh, there's more. There's more.
There's
in
more?
Here.
Oh,
There's
okay.
more in here. Mr. Crawford has been teasing about moving to another chair here now. This does not give you permission to ring the bell every time you want to be recognized.
Well, I thank you all very, very much. It has been a very, it really has been a very interesting year. I had the privilege, though, of serving with you all, and you made it easy to do that. So I do appreciate it. It is, I can't say it enough, and I tell everybody when I have an opportunity to speak anywhere that I am truly blessed that I have fine people serving with me on the board who are here to do their job, which is educate the children in Marion County. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you for being here.
It sits on top? All right.
There you go.
Isn't that, well, that is really very nice, and I do. But I will be able to use it to get attention. I can, you know? Board, I have a communique from our attorney, and I'm hereby notifying you that advice is needed. What, ma'am? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're right. Okay, you're absolutely right. I'm rushing on this. You know, I'm reading the green instead of just the red. Board member, let me recognize our board attorney. You're welcome. I really won't do it for you, but
I appreciate that. Board, I am notifying you that advice is needed regarding the pending litigation before PERC. The school board is represented by attorney Mark Levitt with the law firm of Allen Norton in Blue, PA. Pursuant to section 286.0118 Florida statutes known as Government the Sunshine Law, Attorney Mark Levitt has asked me to request a session with the board for the sole purpose of discussing settlement negotiations and strategy related to this matter. I will ask the board secretary to cause reasonable public notice of the time and date of this session and the names of the persons attending to be published. It is suggested that the session be held at the end of the November 26, 2013 school board meeting. As required by this statute, only the chief executive officer or designee, board members, and legal counsel can be present. I will ask a court reporter to record the session, also as required by statute. Her notes will be fully transcribed, and upon the conclusion of the litigation, the transcript will be made public.
Board, are there any objections to this? All right. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the board hold an attorney-client session pursuant to Section 286.011, Parent 8, Florida statutes, to discuss pending litigation.
All right, you've heard the superintendent's request and recommendation. Are there any objections? I'll ask again. Seeing none, I will instruct our attorney to schedule the attorney-client session to be held at the end of the November 26, 2013 school board meeting. Board, two quick, and the presentation kind of caught me off guard, so two quick items. If you remember at our last work session, I told you that I had two items that I had brought back from our meeting in Orlando. One I gave you at the board. I've sent the other one over to, they finally sent it electronically. There is a short video. Please watch it if you have not had a chance. I think it is just a very, very interesting program. I have also forwarded on to Deputy Superintendent Langford and to Ms. Brewer over in staff development so that they can get a handle. There is some money coming out of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to pay for some of the first people that would go through this. Like I said, I was very impressed, Ms. Superintendent. I mean, it was using the computer technology that's now available with these avatars and being able to train people. I thought it was just it was just something that could be very helpful to us, and it also gives us the opportunity to do really more people at one time, provide a class training program. So I sent that one over, and for any of you, I don't know, because it lasted all day. I was there for a short period. The band concert up at North Marion. What a turnout! I had trouble finding a parking space when I got there. I also made sure I walked around so nobody recognized me, because it was for the children. Okay, it was for the children. Great performances. And I think one of the things I enjoyed the most is if you went on if you were by the road that runs in front of the school, over by where the baseball facility is, that's where the bands were getting ready. They were practicing. And seeing them over there practicing, and the I don't know what you call them, the flag groups over there were practicing, and it was just seeing these children doing something they really thoroughly enjoyed was I enjoyed it. And I just pulled my car off the side of the road and just sat and watched for a while on that part. So it was a great event. I'm fortunate I didn't get to stay for the awards. Do we know who won?
That came about 11 o'clock.
Okay.
I didn't wait around either.
All right. So maybe at the next meeting we can kind of find out who did win on that. They all should have been winners, but we still have to do that. So that's my two items for tonight. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Am I ahead of page? Yeah, okay.
28,
All right.
28.
Yes, I am. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge the board members have received the alternative placement list for students through October 25th, 2013. In addition to a request to address the board regarding discipline matter, are there any parents in the audience who wish to speak on behalf of a student regarding a discipline matter that we don't know about? Seeing none. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 14-08, JD 14-11, JD 14-14, JD 14-15, JD 14-16, JD 14-17, JD 14-18 with educational services through the 2013-2014 school year and the first semester of the 2014-2015 school year. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Ms. Boynton. Any discussions on any of these? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and that motion should pass 5-0. And it does. In order to protect the privacy of students, I will be calling a brief recess to clear the room prior to the further discussion of student disciplinary matters so parents may have an opportunity to address the board. This is not a hearing. This is merely an opportunity for parents to express concerns. Prior to the board considering a recommendation for expulsion, parents have an opportunity to discuss options available to them to maintain their child's educational program. If the student is expelled, the school board staff remains available to talk with the parents about the alternative education programs available for the expelled students. This concludes the televised portion of the business meeting of the Marion County School Board. We now stand in adjournment.